What's one belief you had on day one that you now find hilarious, and why? And we believed on day one that you could push a button and make inventory disappear, right? Honestly, that's why we're called Ghost. And what we realized was the act of doing that, the act of being able to move millions of units around the world is so terribly complex that technology alone can't solve it. Hey there, I'm Josh Kaplan, founder of Ghost. So Ghost is a data-driven distribution platform for the world's best brands. We help the largest brands and retailers buy and sell inventory across the world.
Hey, I'm Martin Pustilnick, founder of Mundi. Mundi is a fintech platform for cross-border trade. We help Mexican manufacturers grow internationally with capital, treasury, and tools.
So how about those tariffs, huh?
Let's talk a little bit about like fashion, right? You're a very fashionable man, and I think we are dressed similarly, but just by chance. I don't think we planned this. But tell me a bit, how did you end
first
up...
off, we definitely planned this.
How did you end up starting this company and managing global supply chains for high-end retailers?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the real answer is actually that I grew up here in New York and my mom worked at Saks Fifth Avenue. And so every day after school, I used to go and just walk the aisles of the store. And I just became so fascinated with the fashion industry and was fairly technical after college and worked as a product manager and spent a few years in media, and then realized that I could take my talents in technology to the fashion industry, which sounds like an oxymoron because the fashion industry is traditionally incredibly analog, incredibly archaic. And honestly, that's really where Ghost has been able to thrive, is being able to change behavior, right? Convert this, antiquated, not very savvy industry into the modern age. How about you?
Also, similar story. I grew up around cross-border trade. So my dad was an importer in Argentina for many years until there was a big crisis in 2001. I didn't really think of that very much for like 15 years. Moved to the US and ended up working in a fund investing in digital logistics. And through that is how I started going to Mexico, doing some research, and essentially went to this conference and it started pitching people on a product that I didn't have. They started telling me their problems, and I came back the second day of the conference with the solution that they had pitched me. Then I came back to the US and pitched my former bosses in the fund about starting Mundi, and that's how we got started, all very organically. So yeah, just like pulling from a little thread into what now is like a real company 5 years in.
We believed on day one that you could push a button and make inventory disappear, right? Honestly, that's why we're called Ghost. And what we realized was the act of doing that, the act of being able to move millions of units around the world is so terribly complex that technology alone can't solve it. And so what we've really started to focus on is creating essentially product and service united. And that is the strategy that we've used to ensure that at every touch point, from onboarding to itemizing to negotiations to payments to post-purchase, there's simultaneously a human element to it that meets the customer where they are, right? Gives them the comfort and the trust and the safety that there is someone watching over their millions of dollars worth of products, making sure that they arrive. And at the same time, there is a digital experience that gives them the power of making decisions at their fingertips.
We started like very like tech is the only thing that's gonna make or break our business, and we learned the hard way that like we're also in the risk business, for example, and we are in like a B2B sales motion, and it's traditional, and our type of customer tends to be older, and someone was talking about like, oh, you just do more LinkedIn advertising. I'm like, my clients are not on LinkedIn. Right. I mean, some are, but like not the majority.
But they're not using it for that.
Right. So it's like being able to empathize with a customer persona that is not exactly like, yourself. I think it's complex. But I think at the same time, one thing that we've been successful at is in trying to abstract what is the client trying to obtain from this behavior, And in our case, I think in financial services, everyone's like, well, we want more money, cheaper, more flexible. Sure. It's like, okay, so what if we are able to, with technology, like abstract a lot of that thinking for you and allow you to essentially become an outsourced risk department for you, an outsourced collections department for you, an outsourced currency exposure for you, and all of that in a way that is very, seamless, and you don't necessarily like see it, right. But the user experience ends up being significantly better than the competition, right? And I think that over time becomes more and more of an advantage. And when you look at, we compete with traditional companies. The first year, everyone's like, "What are these the Mundi kids?" They think that like they're gonna, change how it's done. Second year, same. Now like we're like 5 years in, and they're like, we're like same size as some of these guys. They're like, we're the same size as these guys that have been doing it for 20 years. Right. And I think it compounds in a way that there are definitely points in the journey where it's like, what is all this technology that I'm building? What is it going to do? But then definitely over time, it clears up. And I think the value that it generates around like scalability, around like being able to give a better customer experience, and eventually also better costs and savings and whatnot, really makes worth all the investment. Thanks, Josh, for speaking with me. It's been a pleasure.
Always, man. This is great. Yeah. Thank you.